All right, let's assemble some cards and really get to know how to make a card to actually finally make the card. So I have some card bases that I make most of my card bases by hand. It's really easy. I don't necessarily go out and buy the packaged cards because I don't like they're really thin. The card bases are really thin. So I like to get a thicker card base, like 120 pound, some 90 pound paper. It just depends on the manufacturer on how they um, but I like cardstock and I like Nina White cardstock. I just go to my printer and I say I want a ream of Nina White cardstock in like 90 pound or 120 pound, depending on the manufacturer. Uh, and so that's what I have right here. And all I do is I actually have them, I pay for them to cut the ream. I buy two reams, or actually, I'll buy one ream of cardstock paper. And if you go to a printer, they can cut the ream. But I say, oh wait, split the ream in half because I don't need all portrait or all landscape. Um, and then I'll have like, I don't know, 100 of each card bases or whatever of each side. So this is we call these like a tent fold or just a one fold, and this is a tent fold, and then another tent fold, but the fold is on the top, so you open from the bottom. That's what I like. You can do it however you like. You can buy them, but I like the thicker cardstock. It just makes it for a nicer handmade feel. And then once I get them all cut, then I just fold them and I use my nice little bone folder right here. I do like to try and make sure that my corners looks like they are, so I'm going to go ahead and just use my bone folder. And this way, the bone folder is doing all the work, and I have a nice card base. Um, pretty simple, pretty, pretty nice. All right, so that's the card bases. And so let's start assembling some. Let's get started. I'm going to need scissors for a couple of these panels, so I figured we'll get started there. All right, so for this one, I already cut my black cardstock to the size of my card base, which is 4¼ by 5½, and that's an A2 size. Um, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and position this. I know that I want about a quarter, eighth of an inch around that because that's how I measured it. And then I'm going to do the same on the bottom and then do the middle. You do it that way you kind of split the difference if you're a little off. And that looks good right there. And then the middle. And then this card panel is just about done. There, I like that. That works. Sometimes I have to relook at my card panel and see if it is in good shape. I like that. All right, we're gonna call that done. That is a beautiful card, perfect. Now all I have to do is put some tape on the back of this and put it onto my card base. And I think I actually cut this a little bit smaller than I thought, but that's okay. Nope, it is right, the perfect right size. In there, I have one card done. Let's go on to the next one. Now this one, I wanted to just make a little banner. So what I do is I'm gonna kind of cut where I think is the middle. And right there, not quite done yet. There. And then if I wanted to make sure that it was perfect, I was right where I should have been. So then I just cut that. And there's my dovetail. And then I'm going to use some mounting squares that I have and put some mounting squares on here. Oh, see how that one was a mistake. That one was crooked, if you remember, and I will do maybe 2 more on there. All right, and that one looks good. And I do like to, I don't want to completely at the edge. Good composition means like using those rules of thirds to your ability. So this is definitely in the third part of the card. It's not smack dab in the middle. That's what I'm looking for. So I can go ahead and do that. Now, I'm pretty sure I cut this to be a different size. So I cut it to have a little bit of space on the end, which is great because I wanted to use some washi tape. And maybe I want silver and not gold for this one. So I have some washi tape right here that I love to use for things like this. And I'm going to go ahead and just put this down the side. This is I think they call it like premium washi tape. It's just it has a backing to it. You should be able to get it at Hobby Lobby or almost any like stamp store or paper crafting store. I got this one at Hobby Lobby. I don't know about the others, but I'm just putting this right onto the cardstock, onto the card base. And then I'm cutting that off. Cutting that off. So then I have this nice silver edge to my card base. Now I can just go in and I do want to use a lot of glue. I used to only do like 1 or 2 down, but I have found that with watercolor paper, I need a little bit more, and that's okay. I'm good with that. And then again, I just start gluing, and there we go. We got a really pretty card. Isn't that nice? Yeah. So all these little steps then make a beautiful card once they're done. All right. This one was going to be really simple. All I was going to do is add some mounting squares. So 1, 2, 3. And then again, rules of thirds. So that looks centered. Does not. There. That is centered. Okay. Now I can go with my card base and decide if I need anything extra. Nope. And I really like that white border. It just adds to that simplicity of the card, but what a beautiful card that's going to be. Because you spent so much time on your backgrounds and your stamps, you don't have to, what I would say, reinvent the wheel, right? Just keep it simple and beautiful, and that's my mantra for cards. Keep it simple and beautiful. And then I just press down and you got this really nice looking card just like that. Isn't that fun? Okay, let's move on. This one, if you remember, I cut this panel a little bit, and I'm happy to do that because I'm going to add some washi tape, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if I really am loving that. I think I'll cut down the card base a little bit after I do, after I put some washi tape down. I'm going to put some washi tape right down there, but I don't, I'm going to do this one, put the dots, just a little bit different. Sometimes. And then I'm gonna, yeah, okay. We're just gonna have to make it work. And I don't like that gold like that. So we're gonna change, we'll use this card base for something else. And we'll go on to something different. So I think at this point I will just cut it down to size so it's just a little bit skinnier, but that's okay. It makes for a really unique card and I'm okay with that. I always have to remind myself that less is more when it comes to watercolor cards, and that's very true. Now I will say that sometimes when you do the matte medium with the glitter, it is a little glittery, so you have to kind of, you know, just chill and know that you're gonna get glitter kind of everywhere. So if you don't like glitter, don't do that gel masking stencil thing. It will eventually leave, but you don't want to like, yeah. And then I'm just gonna stick it right on the middle because it is like the spotlight, right? I don't want to, and then I'll cut it, I'll trim it down at the very later when I'm done with assembling all my cards. Okay. Now I have this one. And if you remember right, I was just gonna put this right like this and then trim the bottom. And I think that will look really neat. So we'll do the strip last. I always do the most important thing first and then the least important. And since this card panel is the thing that is the most important to the card, I'm going to put that on first. Okay. Now I can just run my tape lighter right down the side of that. If you guys were curious, I use non-archival safe glue in this. I don't think it really matters. You're not scrapbooking it, so it's not. And then I'm going to go ahead and chop that bottom off too. All right, now onto this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some pop dots for the blessed embellishment. I'll just do that right there. And then I'll get my pop dots. I got my pop dots and go ahead and pop those up. All right, I really like that like that. And then I'm going to It's the full panel, so it'll look perfect just like that. And I do try to like to get to the very end because I really don't want it to come off the card panel. And of course, I hope that the people that I make these cards for will keep them for a very long time. But if they don't, I don't always feel bad about it because some people just aren't sentimental, but you feel like maybe they deserve a homemade handmade card, and that's okay. And there, that one's done. And that one feels really heavy with the gesso. It's a really neat feeling card. I like that. I like the simplicity. Let the tools do all the work. This one was a simple, I'm just gonna put it on a card base, call it good. I'm not, it's already cut to size. Those are my favorite kind of cards where you are now to the point where you just have to glue and listen to some good music while making these cards. You can feel really good about whipping all these cards out and then say, woohoo, I made all these card panels, and all these cards in one day. Makes me happy. All right, there, that's perfect. What a fun card that is. All right, so now I wanted to share with you how I cut up or how I use these. I stamp them onto the Brusho panels, right? And some of them work okay. Like I think all of these are going to be ones that I need to trim up and like polish a little bit more. And I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that. So let me show you. These are the ones that I think are pretty good. I don't think I'm gonna have to cut anything up to polish. Um, yeah, but oh, look at some of those. Those are really cool. All right, let's polish up these landscape cards. So you stamped them. We have this edge. Sometimes the edge works. Most of the time, I would say they don't. So let's cut that up. What I'm looking for in these is I'm going to cut off. So I want it to look like there's nothing coming from the edge. Um, and if I'm using two stamps like these two, I use two stamps. I'm going to cut off. I'm going to make sure that I don't have any extra depth down here. That one, the bottom looks good, but I need to cut that off. And some of them I just like to have that white border too, which that one has the white border. It just has a white little border. This one I cut down because I must not have liked something over on on the side, which is fine. And then just used a white border for that. This one I used it as a bleed, so I did not have any white showing, and it's just there. Um, yeah. And then I have the florals, that white border, and that one has a black. So I don't think you have to go to great lengths. And as you can tell that I haven't really put a sentiment on, I'm not planning on putting sentiments on these. Um, I will put sentiments on the inside when I know who the card goes to. If it's a birthday card or a thinking of you or wishing you well, then I'll put a sentiment in. But I like keeping these blank until I know who the card's going to go to. In the last lesson, I had some of these that needed to be cut down to size. Once I get them onto the card base, I can go in and say, okay, this is gonna get cut there, and this is gonna get cut right like that. And now I have a perfect card. That one really is one of my favorites. I love how the Brushos work with the stencil and the glitter and then the nice sentiment. And it ties the black Brusho into it. And it just really makes for a nice, elegant card. Okay, same thing here. This one's simple. I'm just cutting the bottom. And then they'll still put in an A size, an A2 envelope. Like I'm just cutting it so I don't have to add an extra element or make it a big deal. But that one's really pretty. That one is where I stamped the brusho on the leaf and then stamped it onto the paper. And then I had that nice atmospheric look. I think it'll be a wonderful card to send to during Thanksgiving. Okay.